What's going on, Packers fans? Aaron Nagler here, joined by Justis Mosqueda from Acme Packing Company, hot on the trail of some breaking news via, a million different people. I'll give Tom Pelissero the nod. The Bengals, unable to reach contract agreement with Trey Hendrickson. Open to trade offers, and you bet, Justis, Packers fans want to know, are the Packers going to trade for Trey Hendrickson?
Probably not.
There you go. That's the video. Thanks, everybody. Look, I did want to talk to you about it because, like I said, it's fresh off the wire, so to speak. And, man, I'm already getting a ton of questions. And, look, I never want to say never, right? But, man, I'd be shocked. I'd be real shocked if the Packers pulled this trigger.
So, timeline. Okay. Let's do the entire Trey Hendrickson story, starting with his extension last time. Trey Hendrickson signs a 4-year, $60 million contract with the Bengals extension in 2021. That was a bad contract for Hendrickson to sign on the front end, right? What happens when guys sign bad contracts now is you basically have to renegotiate this deal on a year-to-year basis. We saw this with guys like Daniel Hunter until they were just like, fine, go somewhere else and get an extension.
Right?
It's actually not as advantageous for management. You want to suppress the wages, but to a certain point. And then once you get to that certain point, you're like, dang, we have to renegotiate with this guy every year.
Every single year.
Such a bad deal.
Yep.
Which is why you kind of want to just give guys market value and then have the flexibility to move on whenever you need to move on, which is kind of what the Packers do, giving them
they try to do
kind of bonuses
right?
on the front end.
Yep.
So the Bengals are in this perpetual renegotiating cycle with Trey Hendrickson right now. He's about to get $16 million for this year. A lot of money to guys like me and Nagler, right?
Speak for yourself. I don't know what those Acme Packing Company checks go for, but man, Cheesehead TV is rolling in. Okay, maybe you're
tell Cord to DM me.
Yeah.
So $60 million in cash this year. That is going to make him the 30th highest paid defensive lineman in the league. This is a guy coming off of 4 straight Pro Bowls. This is a guy coming off of a first-team All-Pro this past year. Obviously, that's not going to get it done.
Also the sack leader in 2024.
Yeah.
Pretty
good football player.
Yeah.
If he hits the open market next year, the Bengals are probably just going to tag him because they're going to want something in exchange for him, right?
Yep.
And it's not like his number is so high that you get the 120% bump or 140% bump on a second tag.
Right.
He's just going to get whatever the average of the top 5 is, which is what he's trying to get on a multi-year deal right now. Here's the problem.
Right.
He is 30 years old at this point. Teams don't give third contracts to guys. Ken Ingalls, great cap analyst for us. I met us Packers Twitter. I do not own
Packers
him.
Twitter, yes.
Yes. So, for example, since the 1990s, the Green Bay Packers have signed 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't count those right on my fingers, but you get the point. Non-quarterbacks to third contracts. It is Kenny Clark, who's somehow still under 30. I almost consider him an outlier in that, right?
Yep.
Mason Crosby, a non-positional player. Jordy Nelson, and who's the 4? Oh, David Bakhtiari. Right. So doesn't happen very often. From my understanding, when I'm putting on a reporter hoodie since I don't have a hat.
Right.
From my understanding, I talked to people in the league. This was pre-draft about the Hendrickson situation because he was granted
permission to seek a trade.
Which is always a funky thing because the Hendrickson situation is a perfect example. So Hendrickson's representation goes to the Bengals and say, hey, we can get a first-round pick in exchange for Hendrickson and still get our contract. And the Bengals go, yeah, I doubt that, but go for it. Bengals representation comes back and say, hey, we got the contract for Trey Hendrickson. Here's the thing: we couldn't get that first round pick. How about a trade? How about
right?
The team gives up a third. Are you cool with that? And then the Bengals go, no,
hell no,
shutting down trade. Yeah, so it's always goofy. The seeking out a trade thing almost never works, man.
It's almost as if once it hits the public, it's over. Like any of those conversations,
look at the DK
discussions.
Thing.
Exactly.
How long did they try to convince us that DK was not on the trade market? Yep. And then it gets done. Funny how that works out.
Yeah.
So my impression of this news, right, is okay, the Hendrickson and Bengals contract negotiations have hit an impasse, and the Bengals must have dropped their asking price, right?
You would think.
Not so fast. The Athletics' Paul Denner, I believe is how you say his name, claims the Bengals asking price for Hendrickson, quote, hasn't changed, and the price, quote, continues to be significant. Per Denner, quote, it's highly unlikely a team will pay it and also pay Trey. So I don't know if we solved anything. I think we're still in the same spot. This might have been Hendrickson's camp throwing a last-second Hail Mary of, hey, throw your offers in before he ends up reporting, because we only got one more week of preseason, and I bet he doesn't want to be fined game checks, right? He probably wants to.
That's where he's headed right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I bet he wants to accrue the year and all that stuff. So.
All of that good stuff. But here's the thing. Let's live in fantasy land just for a second. Now, we know this is a disclaimer that this is not going to happen.
There was a dog, Avatar, named Ricky, who told me we're involved.
That's a whole other topic. That's a whole different
topic. Both of them are pass rushers. Aaron, we're getting both of them. This is amazing.
I mean, I did tell you to live in fantasy land, so I appreciate that. But what is on the table from the Packers? If you're Brian Gutekunst and you're calling the Browns and you say, I heard you're open to this, what is even in your package as far as players, picks, multiple first rounders? Look, what do you think the Bengals would accept? Or do you think as a rival GM, like what can I come in with to even get them to consider it?
LVN.
Right.
That's probably, to me, the trade that makes the most sense with this. I mean, maybe you have to. I mean, I don't even want to throw in a draft pick. Because, I mean, we're talking about age and all this stuff.
I mean, I know this is my point, though. Like, yes, that would be wonderful, but there's no way the Bengals would agree to that. They would demand, and I suspect this is part of what Denner's talking about. They would demand at least one premium pick, if not several. This is why it'll probably never happen. But I just think this is why I talk about like fantasy land, because, man, there's some things I think the Packers could, easily kind of dangle, but I don't think it's anything going to be close to approaching what the Bengals would accept, which is why it'd be shocking if it ever materialized.
So, but this is how the cost-benefit analysis works, right? It's people see LVN and Trey Hendrickson, and they're like, duh, Trey Hendrickson is better than Lucas Van Ness. Here's the problem. Right. Trey Hendrickson is going to make north of $30 million. Lucas Van Ness is making $2.3 million cash this year, 3.1 next year. You have the 5th-year option, and then
at your disposal.
So,
3 years of control.
Tag him after that.
Yep.
I mean, you have 4 years of control
at very minimal cost.
Yes. So, that's where I'm like, if the Bengals are, I mean, it gets so goofy, man. This is why you should probably never trade for veterans on expiring deals. You probably should. It's probably if you just want to nerd out, right, and just do the spreadsheet math.
Yep.
It can't be worth it. Maybe sometimes you gotta, because you're in a position I don't know, like the New England Patriots this past year, where we were we have $120 million in cap space.
We got to do something.
And a bad football team,
right?
We just have to inject this thing with
players,
talent, right?
Talent, yeah, exactly.
But I think in the Packers situation, I don't know if they really should give up more than a Van Ness, and that's probably where the conversation happens.
Probably not.
Both sides hang up.
Yep, exactly.
And shrug their shoulders and just say, didn't work. So.
That's exactly the conversation I would expect. And look, Brian Gutekunst, in every conversation, I got to suspect someone's making that call. Maybe not Brian, but maybe Milt Hendrickson, John Eric Sullivan, somebody down the line is at least calling at least dipping their toe in the water, and then that's the end of it. Most likely, that would be my guess. So we'll see. We'll see. I know you've written about
Parsons.
Okay, see, now you got to. The Micah Parsons thing is hilarious to me because it's been going on for so long publicly. You could knock me over with a feather if Jerry Jones, as the Netflix documentary about his great run in the 90s is coming out, turns around and trades the most beloved player in Dallas. Like I could never see that happening.
Ever. That fan base is going to riot too. Like I tried talking to RJ Ochoa, who, we have sister sites at APC, right? So right. He runs Blogging the Boys, which covers the Cowboys.
Phenomenal blog,
I hit him up and I was like, how much for Micah Parsons? And he's like, 4 first-round picks or don't even make eye contact with me. And I'm like, all right, so it's never going to happen. Never mind. My bad.
This is what I'm talking about.
This is the same fan base that dealt with the whole, Luka trade less than a year ago. So if you want to give Luka and Micah Parsons, Dallas is not safe. We might FEMA might need
evacuate Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's gonna be pretty. Oh, I love it. I know you've written about Hendrickson on Acme Packing Company. I'll link to that in the description of this video. People can read more about the frameworks and Justis's thoughts, which we always appreciate here at Cheesehead TV. Justis, thanks so much for the time, man.
Of course. Next time you want to go to Fantasyland, hit me up.
Always absolutely. You're my first one. I think Fantasyland, it's Justis Mosqueda. No question.